Night had fallen over Earth and the sky was calm. The stars shone quietly above the forests and cities below. Suddenly, a bright light tore through the darkness. It moved faster than anything anyone had seen before. People in small towns looked up and gasped. 3 objects fell from the sky, trailing fire and smoke. They crashed into a remote forest, shaking the ground and sending birds flying into the night. The loud explosions echoed across the hills. Local authorities and the military received multiple alerts at the same time. Scientists at a nearby observatory stared in disbelief at the strange shapes on their monitors. Human soldiers were quickly deployed to the crash site. Their boots crushed the dry leaves as they ran through the forest, weapons ready. Smoke rose in thick gray clouds, and the smell of burning metal filled the air. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, metal screeching, a soft humming, and an occasional cry that no one could recognize. No one knew what had hit Earth. Was it an enemy attack? Or some strange natural event? Tension hung in the air like a heavy fog. Everyone was alert, watching every shadow. The soldiers reached the first crash site. The ground was scorched and twisted metal lay scattered around. Smoke rose from the 3 alien pods, still glowing red from the heat. They looked strange, small, round, and covered with symbols no one had ever seen. As the humans approached, the pods began to open slowly. Inside, weak creatures lay huddled together. Their skin was pale, almost translucent. Some were injured, bleeding, and shaking with fear. Small children clung to their parents, their large, unblinking eyes filled with terror. The aliens tried to speak, but their sounds were broken and strange. Nothing the humans could understand. One alien, taller than the others, collapsed completely, hitting the ground with a soft thud. Its breathing was shallow, and its hands twitched slightly. The humans stared at them, unsure what to do. Their hearts beat fast, not only because of fear but also because they had never seen anything like this. The soldiers whispered among themselves. "We cannot trust them," one said, his voice hard. "They could be dangerous. They could be spies or worse." Another soldier shook his head. "But they are hurt. We can't just leave them here to die. Look at them, they are scared. They need help." The argument grew louder. Some wanted to call it a trap. Others wanted to bring them in, take care of them, and then ask questions later. Confusion and fear battled against compassion. Meanwhile, the scientists stepped closer, examining the strange creatures. One of them carefully moved a hand toward the collapsed alien. The alien's small eyes flicked open for a moment, just enough to show a spark of awareness. Its body shivered, but it did not move away. Finally, a human medic stepped forward. She was young but brave. Her uniform was covered in dirt and sweat from running through the forest. Against orders, she knelt down beside the alien and touched its hand. The skin was cool and soft under her fingers. For a moment, everything stopped. The wind quieted, the smoke seemed to pause, and even the soldiers held their breath. The alien looked at the medic with wide eyes. Then, in a voice barely louder than a whisper, it said a single word. "Help." The word echoed in the medic's mind, simple but filled with urgency. The alien repeated it once, then fell back, exhausted. She looked up at the soldiers around her. Their faces were hard, worried, confused. Some wanted to move back. Some were ready to fire. But no one could deny what they had just heard. Help, the word hung in the air. It was a plea, a warning, and a call for trust all at once. The forest seemed to grow quieter after that, as if the world itself was waiting for a response. The soldiers looked at each other, realizing this was bigger than any normal mission. Something had fallen from the sky, something alive, something fragile, something in desperate need of protection. No one knew where the other pods were or what would happen if they opened. But one thing was clear, this was not the beginning of a normal night. Something new, something dangerous was coming. And Earth was now involved. The medic took a deep breath, holding the alien's hand firmly. "We will help you," she whispered back. "No one will hurt you here." The alien's eyes seemed to relax, a small gesture of trust in a world it had never known. And in that moment, every human at the crash site felt it. The calm before the storm, the start of something that would change their lives forever. Because these aliens were not just survivors. They were refugees. And their enemies were still out there searching. And soon Earth would face the unexpected war. The forest was quiet after the crash, but the calm was only temporary. Smoke still curled from the scorched ground, and the 3 alien pods lay in twisted metal around the crash site. Humans worked quickly, carrying the injured aliens to armored vehicles. Soldiers kept their weapons raised, eyes scanning the dark treeline for any sign of danger. No one knew if this was the beginning of a simple rescue, or the start of something much worse. Inside the vehicles, the aliens trembled. Their strange, fragile bodies shook with fear, and the small children clung tightly to their parents. Their eyes, unusually large and dark, scanned the humans nervously. Every movement, every sound from the humans seemed to startle them. One scientist leaned closer to a small holographic device, trying to understand their broken sounds. Beeps and flashes appeared, attempting to translate the alien language, but most of it was incomprehensible. The humans could only see the terror on their faces and hear fragments of words that sounded almost like whispers: home, gun, danger. Back at the secret base, the aliens were placed in a large, sterile room. The walls were lined with monitoring equipment, lights glowing softly. Doctors and scientists worked to stabilize them. Human medics cleaned wounds, applied bandages, and gave water. Yet, despite the care, the aliens flinched at every touch, every voice, every movement. Trust did not come easily. The tallest alien, the one who had whispered "help" at the crash site, sat silently in a corner, cradling a small child. Its hands were delicate and trembling. Every now and then, it glanced at the humans with suspicion. They were strong, large, unpredictable. The alien had seen species far stronger than humans, and yet they had always been abandoned. "They will betray us too," it whispered to the child, its voice broken. But the child only looked at the humans with wide, innocent eyes, not fully understanding the danger. The humans did not know what the aliens were saying, but their fear was clear. They realized that helping the aliens was more than just a medical task. It was a test of trust, and both sides had much to learn. Meanwhile, outside the base, radar operators noticed strange blips approaching from the far edges of the solar system. The signals were faint but consistent, moving with purpose. The aliens noticed it too. When one of the medics approached to show them the radar screen, they reacted violently, huddling together and pointing toward the sky. "They are coming," the tallest alien finally said in broken English. It was the first time any of them had spoken fully in human language. "They kill all." A chill ran down the spines of the humans. The words were simple, but the meaning was clear. The attackers who destroyed their planet were still alive. And now their hunt was not over, they were coming for Earth. Human military leaders called an emergency meeting. The room buzzed with tension. Generals, scientists, and intelligence officers argued about the right course of action. "We need to question them," one general said sharply. "They might be dangerous. We cannot risk letting them roam freely." "But they are weak and injured," a medic countered. "We cannot turn our backs on them. If we do, we fail not just them, but ourselves." The argument went on, but the decision was already clear to a few brave humans. They would protect the aliens. Whatever came next, Earth would not abandon them like every other world had. As the humans worked to communicate with the aliens, one of the scientists finally managed a breakthrough. Using gestures and simple words, they were able to piece together part of the aliens' story. Their home planet had been destroyed by a massive war fleet, more advanced and cruel than anything humans had ever seen. Entire cities had been wiped out in hours. Millions had died. And the survivors, the ones in these pods, had fled in desperation. No home, planet, gone. The tallest alien repeated, showing images on a small holographic device. Human eyes widened as they saw cities burning, oceans boiling, and skies covered in fire. The humans had seen disasters on Earth, but nothing like this. Fear mixed with determination. Humans realized the aliens' enemies were not only advanced, they were relentless. If they reached Earth, humanity itself could be in danger. While the humans and aliens began to understand each other, the base sensors picked up another, more disturbing signal. A large object was moving fast through space toward Earth. It was not like any asteroid or satellite. Its shape was angular, massive, and designed for destruction. The aliens recognized it immediately. They whispered words of warning, pointing to the radar screen. "Hunter, coming, cannot stop, alone." The humans looked at each other. The reality was sinking in. The aliens were not alone in their fear. Their enemies were coming. And Earth might be the next battlefield. The tension grew heavier with each passing minute. Scientists worked frantically to translate the aliens' warnings. Soldiers reinforced the base's perimeter. Everyone knew the fragile peace of the night could shatter at any moment. The tallest alien, once weak and trembling, stood slowly and faced the humans. Its voice, broken but firm, echoed through the room. "We need you. Only you can save us." A wave of emotion ran through the humans. Protecting these creatures was no longer a choice, it was a responsibility. And deep down, they knew that accepting this responsibility meant they were stepping into a war far bigger than anything they had imagined. Outside the base, the sky was quiet again. But the calm was deceiving. Somewhere in the cold darkness of space, a massive enemy ship moved closer. Its purpose was clear: to finish what it had started. And Earth was now part of the battlefield. The base was buzzing with activity. Humans moved quickly through the corridors, carrying supplies, checking weapons, and monitoring the strange aliens in their care. Scientists and engineers were working together, trying to understand what the attackers might be capable of. The aliens huddled in corners, watching everything with wide, cautious eyes. For the first time since the crash, the tallest alien stood tall and spoke clearly to the humans. "They, coming, faster, cannot stop alone," it said, pointing at the radar screen. Its words sent a shiver down the spines of everyone in the room. Humans had faced natural disasters, wars, and countless threats, but never something like this. Outside, the radar blips grew larger, faster. The massive ship approaching Earth was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Its surface shimmered in the cold darkness of space, angular and black, reflecting the distant stars. Its energy readings spiked suddenly, causing the base alarms to ring. The lights flickered, and soldiers instinctively reached for their weapons. General Marks, the commander of the base, stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. "What is that thing?" he demanded. A scientist quickly responded, pointing at the readings. "Its energy output is off the charts. Our sensors can barely measure it. And it's heading directly for Earth." The aliens' reactions were immediate. The tallest one, trembling but determined, stepped forward. "Hunter, ship, destroy, all must protect." It paused, looking around the room. Its eyes met the humans, full of trust and desperation. "We need help, or die." The soldiers exchanged tense glances. Some murmured doubts. Could they really protect these fragile creatures? Could Earth survive this unknown enemy? "We have no choice," General Marks said firmly. "We protect them. That is our mission." Meanwhile, the aliens began to communicate more actively, using gestures and simple English words. They showed holographic images of their destroyed home world. Cities burning, skies filled with energy beams, and millions of lives wiped out in hours. The humans could barely comprehend the scale of the destruction. "They, no safe anywhere," the alien whispered. "They hunt survivors everywhere." The base grew silent. Soldiers gripped their weapons tighter. Scientists stared at the holograms in disbelief. Earth could be next. Outside, the first scout ships of the enemy fleet entered the solar system. They moved with terrifying speed, scanning every planet, searching for the refugees. The radar screens lit up with dozens of incoming blips. The base alarms screamed warnings. Soldiers scrambled to prepare defenses, while engineers tried to activate shield generators and anti-ship weapons. Back in the alien containment area, the children were crying softly, clutching their parents. Their fear was contagious. Humans tried to calm them, but they knew words would not be enough. The aliens had seen death in a way humans could barely imagine. A young human pilot, Lieutenant Harris, ran into the control room shouting, "Sir, enemy ships detected in orbit. They are faster than anything we've faced before. Weapon systems may not be enough." The generals and scientists held a quick meeting. Strategies were discussed, but nothing seemed certain. The enemy was powerful, precise, and ruthless. They had already destroyed entire worlds. And now they were here, moving toward the very people the humans had vowed to protect. The tallest alien suddenly stepped onto the central platform of the base, its voice strong and commanding. "We fight with you. Earth must survive." Its words inspired a strange mix of courage and fear. These creatures, once weak and trembling, were now willing to fight alongside humans for survival. The first shots came from space. Small energy pulses hit the outer defenses of the base, causing explosions and sparks. Soldiers dived for cover, shouting orders. The shields shook but held. Humans realized quickly, they were facing an enemy unlike any other, one that combined speed, power, and intelligence. The aliens showed the humans how their enemies fought. They pointed to energy patterns, weak points, and attack sequences. Even though communication was difficult, humans began to understand that these creatures had survived this enemy before, and their knowledge could save Earth. "Their weapon, kill instantly," the tallest alien warned. "Touch human, or alien, die." The words made every human in the room pause. They were facing not only a technological threat but also a biological one. The enemy's weapons could kill in seconds, leaving no chance for rescue. Human engineers worked frantically to upgrade weapons, shields, and defenses. Pilots prepared jets and spacecraft for rapid response. Soldiers took positions around the base, ready for a ground attack. Everyone understood one simple truth: failure meant total destruction. Outside, the sky grew darker as enemy ships descended. Their movements were precise, coordinated, and terrifying. The first dropships entered the upper atmosphere, firing pulses that lit the sky with brilliant blue streaks. The aliens screamed in fear, pointing at the sky. A human commander shouted, "Hold your positions. Protect the refugees at all costs." The aliens, despite their fear, began to join the humans, showing defensive maneuvers, identifying weak points, and helping guide soldiers. Slowly, an unusual alliance formed, one that could decide the fate of Earth. The first enemy landers crashed near the base perimeter. Explosions rocked the ground. Smoke and fire rose into the night sky. Soldiers returned fire, energy beams clashing with alien weapons in an eerie, deadly dance. The refugees huddled behind cover, but some, especially the older ones, began to fight alongside humans, their strange energy weapons lighting the battlefield. Amidst the chaos, the tallest alien spoke again, its voice firm: "We survive together, or die together." The humans realized they were not just defending Earth, they were defending the last hope of an entire alien species. And the enemy was only beginning. The camera panned to the night sky. A massive enemy warship loomed, its engines glowing ominously. It was larger than anything Earth had ever seen. Its weapons charged slowly, deliberately, and humans knew that if this one shot hit, it could destroy everything. A human general whispered almost to himself, This is just the beginning." And above the forest, the aliens and humans prepared for the fight of their lives. The war had arrived at Earth's doorstep. The first night of the battle had passed, but the sky above the base was far from calm. Smoke still curled from the scorched trees near the crash sites, and the sounds of distant explosions echoed faintly across the forest. Humans and aliens alike moved quickly through the base, repairing damage, strengthening defenses, and preparing for the next wave of the enemy. Inside the command center, General Marks studied the radar screen intently. The enemy fleet had not retreated. If anything, their energy readings were growing stronger. "They are coming back," he said grimly. "And they are not holding back this time." The aliens, once weak and terrified, were now standing beside the humans. They showed the soldiers how to anticipate enemy attacks, pointing at patterns on the screens, warning of weapon ranges, and predicting movements. Their knowledge of the enemy was invaluable, yet every gesture carried fear. They had already lost so much. A young alien child clutched the hand of a human soldier, her large eyes blinking nervously. "Safe?" she asked in broken English. The soldier nodded, squeezing her hand reassuringly. But deep down he knew that no one would truly be safe tonight. Outside, the enemy ships glided silently through the sky. Their energy beams scanned the terrain, striking small fires into the forest around the base. Human soldiers fired back, their weapons lighting the night with flashes of blue and red energy. The aliens joined in, their strange weapons humming and shooting with precision the humans could not yet match. Engineers worked frantically to strengthen the base's shields. Layers of energy barriers shimmered around the perimeter, pulsating with a faint blue glow. "We can hold them," one engineer shouted. "But only for a short time. The energy demands are off the charts." Meanwhile, the tallest alien moved among the human soldiers. "They will test everything," it warned. "Shields, weapons, courage, must be ready." Its voice was steady and yet filled with urgency. The humans realized how fragile their defense really was. One mistake could destroy everything. In the sky above, enemy dropships descended quickly, their engines cutting through the night with low, threatening hums. Small energy bombs struck the outer perimeter, shaking the ground. Trees fell in flames. Soldiers dived for cover, firing back at the advancing enemy. The humans realized quickly that they could not fight alone. The aliens guided them, pointing out weak spots in the enemy ships. Left, fire now," one alien shouted, directing a squad of soldiers to take precise shots. Slowly, humans began to see that teamwork with the aliens was working. Small victories appeared in the chaos. One enemy dropship was destroyed before it could fire. Yet the battle was far from over. The enemy sent wave after wave of landers, and energy pulses from above lit the sky in harsh flashes. Explosions rocked the ground, throwing soldiers and debris into the air. Smoke filled the night, stinging eyes and making breathing difficult. The children among the refugees cried, and humans tried to comfort them while still fighting. In one small clearing, the tallest alien stood tall, raising its weapon. Energy pulses shot from its strange gun, striking an incoming enemy vehicle with pinpoint accuracy. "Together, fight, survive," it shouted. Human soldiers around it cheered, returning fire in perfect coordination. For the first time, fear and hope blended together. The battle was brutal, but they had a chance. A human medic, moving quickly through the chaos, noticed a wounded alien soldier lying on the ground. Without hesitation, she rushed to help, shielding it with her own body as energy beams flew past. "Hold on. We won't let them die," she shouted. The alien's eyes widened in surprise. No other species had ever risked themselves like this. Above the forest, the sky was dark with enemy ships. Massive energy blasts arced through the clouds, striking the shields with tremendous force. Sparks flew along the base's outer walls and alarms rang continuously. Yet the shields held just barely. Suddenly, a massive enemy weapon struck the edge of the base's shield, sending a wave of energy that made the ground tremble. Soldiers fell to their knees to avoid falling debris, and the aliens shrieked in fear. The human engineers shouted over the alarms, working furiously to stabilize the shields. In the middle of the chaos, a small alien child ran to the tallest alien, pointing at one of the approaching enemy ships. "Big fire, coming," it cried. The alien lifted the child safely onto its shoulder, scanning the sky. "We cannot stop alone." General Marks realized they had to act fast. He turned to his officers. "Prepare the final defensive lines. Evacuate the refugees to the inner sanctum. We hold them here no matter what." The humans and aliens moved as one, retreating into stronger positions while keeping the outer perimeter active. Every shot, every movement, every pulse of energy mattered. They were not just defending a base, they were defending lives that had no other home. Hours passed like minutes. The battle raged endlessly. Fires burned in the forest. Explosions shook the walls. Smoke and ash filled the night, making visibility almost impossible. Yet humans and aliens continued to fight side by side. Finally, as the first light of dawn began to touch the horizon, the enemy retreated slightly, regrouping. The base was battered but still standing. Soldiers and aliens alike collapsed in exhaustion, breathing heavily. The children cried softly in the arms of human medics, still frightened but alive. The tallest alien stepped forward, looking at the humans around it. "Earth, strong, humans, strong, together," it said, almost as if it could not believe what they had just done. General Marks nodded grimly, wiping sweat from his forehead. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "They will be back. And next time, it could be worse." Outside, the forest was quiet again, but only for a moment. The humans knew that the real test was not over. The enemy had retreated, but it would return. And when it did, Earth would need to be ready. The aliens looked at their new protectors with a mix of hope and fear. For the first time in years they felt safe, but only because humanity had chosen to fight. And above the forest, the sky remained full of tension, waiting for the next strike. The war for Earth's future was far from over. The base was quiet for a brief moment, but it was only the calm before the storm. The enemy had retreated, but everyone knew it was only temporary. Engineers worked tirelessly, repairing the shields, reinforcing defenses, and readying weapons for the next wave. Soldiers moved in tight formations, training with the aliens, learning to anticipate the enemy's moves. The aliens, once timid and frightened, now moved confidently, guiding humans in strategies that had kept them alive before. General Marks gathered the commanders and the tallest alien. "We can't just wait for them," he said. "We need to fight back. We need to show them that Earth is not weak." The alien nodded slowly. "They think weak, underestimate Earth, strong, together, kill them before they destroy everything." Humans and aliens worked side by side, planning their counterattack. Engineers integrated alien weapons into human ships, while scientists analyzed enemy technology captured from damaged dropships. Pilots ran simulations over and over, coordinating attacks with the alien refugees' advice. Each human and alien knew that failure would mean death, not just for themselves but for the entire planet. The first sign of the enemy came just after dawn. A scouting fleet appeared in orbit, smaller ships moving fast, scanning the terrain. They were precise, organized, and deadly. The humans fired first, energy pulses streaking toward the enemy. Alien weapons joined the fray, firing beams with an eerie hum. The combined force of humans and aliens surprised the enemy, hitting critical points and destroying a few scout ships in seconds. For the first time, humans realized that their new allies could turn the tide. The aliens' knowledge of their enemy's tactics allowed humans to strike where it hurt most. Enemy ships fell from the sky, one by one, exploding in bright flashes. Soldiers cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. The enemy commander, watching from the massive warship hovering above Earth, realized the humans were dangerous. They are adapting fast, unlike anything we have faced, he growled. Prepare the final weapon, destroy them all, leave nothing alive. The humans saw it on their sensors, a massive energy beam charging on the enemy flagship. If it fired, it could wipe out the entire continent. General Marks barked orders. All units, evacuate the refugees to the inner sanctum. Activate all defensive shields. Fire at the flagship only when I give the command. Pilots scrambled into their ships, engines blazing. Alien fighters, small but powerful, joined the humans in a synchronized attack. The enemy ships fired relentlessly, energy beams cutting through the sky, striking shields and exploding on contact. The battle became chaos, a deadly dance of speed, fire, and strategy. In the midst of the battle, the tallest alien flew alongside a human pilot, coordinating attacks. Now, fire together, hit weak spot, it shouted. The human pilot obeyed, and the enemy ship wobbled under the combined energy strikes. Sparks flew across its surface and its shields flickered. For the first time it seemed vulnerable. On the ground, soldiers and alien refugees worked to reinforce the shield generators. Each blast from the enemy threatened to destroy the base, but the humans held firm. Some soldiers fell, wounded by stray energy pulses, but others took their places immediately. The aliens aided them, using strange devices to amplify shields and repair damaged circuits. The enemy realized their attacks were failing. Frustration and fear replaced their arrogance. The massive energy beam on the flagship was now fully charged, ready to fire. It would destroy everything. There was no way to stop it, unless the humans and aliens acted together in a last desperate attempt. General Marks turned to the tallest alien. "Do you have any idea how to stop it?" he asked, urgency in his voice. The alien nodded. "Yes. Combine all energy, humans, aliens, together. Overload their system." The humans acted immediately. Engineers rerouted all available energy into the shields. Alien technology merged with human systems, creating a massive energy pulse. Ships fired at the flagship simultaneously, focusing every weapon on its core. The enemy beam fired, but collided with the combined energy. A massive explosion of light erupted in the sky, visible for hundreds of miles. The enemy flagship shuddered violently. Its weapons overloaded, systems failing. Sparks and fire erupted along its hull. Smaller enemy ships were caught in the blast, disintegrating instantly. The combined power of humans and aliens had worked. The enemy could no longer control the battlefield. On the ground, the humans and alien refugees cheered, exhausted but alive. Fire still burned in the forest and smoke lingered in the air, but they had survived. For the first time, the aliens realized that humans were not weak. They were strong, clever, and brave. The tallest alien stepped forward, looking at General Marks. "Earth, strong, humans, strong, together, survive, today," it said, a mixture of relief and awe in its voice. But the battle was not completely over. The enemy flagship, though damaged, had not been destroyed entirely. Its systems were offline for now, but the humans knew it could repair itself. Somewhere in space, reinforcements were coming. General Marks looked at the horizon, smoke curling into the dawn light. "We've won this fight," he said quietly. "But the war is not over." The aliens, once terrified and helpless, now stood tall beside their human protectors. Trust had been forged in the fire of battle. They had survived together, but they knew that greater challenges lay ahead. Above the planet, the night sky was empty again. The enemy ships had retreated, but the humans and aliens could feel their presence in the darkness. Somewhere the enemy was planning its next attack. And when it returned, Earth and its new allies would have to be ready, or be destroyed. The humans looked at their alien friends. They had risked everything, fought together, and proven that unity could overcome even the deadliest enemies. But deep down, everyone knew, the next battle would be even harder. And far above the planet, in the cold darkness of space, the massive enemy fleet began to regroup. Their eyes were set on Earth. Their hunt was not over. Earth had fought back. But the war was only beginning. The sky over Earth was tense and dark. Smoke from the previous battles still lingered, mixing with the cold wind that swept across the base. Humans and aliens alike moved quickly, knowing that the enemy fleet would return. The enemy's retreat had been temporary, they were regrouping. And this time they would not hold back. Inside the command center, General Marks stood at the large screen, watching dozens of enemy blips appear. They were larger and more numerous than before. His jaw tightened. "They've brought reinforcements," he said grimly. "This is it, the final wave." The tallest alien, standing beside him, spoke with calm authority. "We fight now, together. Earth, survive or die." Its words carried weight, a mixture of courage and desperation. Humans nodded, realizing that this was the moment they would either protect the planet or lose everything. Engineers worked frantically to prepare the shields. Energy barriers pulsed with blue light, stretching across the base's perimeter. Weapons systems were synchronized with alien technology. Pilots readied their ships and soldiers checked every piece of equipment. Refugees, both young and old, huddled together in secure areas, watching as their protectors prepared for the fight of their lives. The enemy appeared suddenly in the sky, massive warships blocking out the stars. Their weapons glowed ominously, signaling destruction. Beams of energy cut through the clouds, striking the outer defenses. Explosions shook the ground. Fires erupted in the forest. The battle had begun. Humans and aliens fired together, their attacks precise and coordinated. The alien technology, when combined with human weapons, struck with unprecedented power. Enemy ships were destroyed faster than they could react. Yet the enemy was relentless. Massive energy pulses struck the shields, sending waves of force across the base. The tallest alien moved among the human soldiers, guiding them to weak points in the enemy's strategy. "Focus, here, fire together," it shouted. Humans and aliens aimed at the same spots, and enemy ships began to falter. Sparks flew from their hulls and several ships crashed into the forest below. The enemy commander, aboard the largest flagship, activated its ultimate weapon, a massive energy beam designed to wipe out the entire base. Humans and aliens could only watch as it charged, the air trembling with its power. General Marks barked orders. "All units, combine all energy into the shields. Now." Engineers and alien technicians worked side by side, rerouting all power into the shield generators. Energy surged through every conduit, every line glowing with blue-white light. The base trembled under the strain. Humans and aliens braced themselves as the massive beam collided with the shields. A blinding explosion of light filled the sky. The enemy flagship shuddered violently, its systems overloaded. Sparks and fire erupted along its hull. Smaller ships nearby were destroyed in the blast. For a moment, everything was silence. The enemy's power had been broken. On the ground, humans and aliens cheered, exhausted but alive. Fire still burned in the forest, but the immediate danger had passed. Children clung to human soldiers, relief written across their faces. The tallest alien lowered its weapon and looked around at the humans. "Earth, strong, humans, strong, together, survive, today," it said quietly. There was awe in its voice, a deep respect for a species that had risked everything to protect life beyond their own. But even in victory, caution remained. The flagship, though damaged, had not been destroyed entirely. The enemy could repair itself and reinforcements were still out there in space. The humans knew that their planet's safety depended on constant vigilance. Outside the base, the survivors emerged from hiding. Refugees, once trembling with fear, now stood taller. They had seen humans fight, and humans had saved them. Trust had been built in fire and blood, and a bond stronger than words had formed. General Marks gathered his commanders. "This fight is over for now," he said. "But we must prepare. They will return. We need Earth ready." The tallest alien spoke again. "We will stay, protect, together. Earth, safe, for now." As the sun began to rise, casting light over the damaged forest, humans and aliens worked side by side. Fires were extinguished, shields repaired, and defenses strengthened. Hope mingled with exhaustion, a reminder that while one battle had been won, the war was far from over. Far above Earth, in the cold darkness of space, the enemy fleet regrouped. Their ships glimmered with renewed energy, plotting the next strike. Somewhere, the enemy commander studied a holographic map, eyes cold and determined. Back on Earth, humans and aliens watched the sky, knowing that their victory had been hard-earned but temporary. The galaxy was vast, and the enemies they faced were relentless. And deep in the night, signals were detected, another fleet coming from the distant edges of the solar system. Earth had survived. Humanity had proven its strength. The aliens had found allies in a species they had never trusted. But the universe was still dangerous, and the next wave of war was already on its way. The tallest alien looked up at the stars, whispering, "We survive, but More, come. And humans understood. They had fought the battle they had won, for now, but the war for Earth's future had only just begun. The camera pulled back from the base, showing the damaged forest, the repaired shields, and the humans and aliens standing together. Far above, the dark shapes of approaching enemy ships became visible in the distance. The war was far from over.